Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hello? Wow. Good afternoon, everybody. I think everybody's ready for a drink. Yes. I know I'm ready for a drink. But Andrew and I are, to quote my friend Chris Holloman, we're the only thing standing between you and your first drink this evening. Chris has coined that term, and I'm going to continue to use it. Thank you, Chris. Um, we're gonna spend some time this afternoon. I'm joined here with Andrew Herden, who is one of the CFOs for Hoya, and we're going to talk about Andrew's journey with AppZen and artificial intelligence. So, Andrew, maybe we can start and you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your role.
Sure.
And your journey so far.
Hi, everyone. Andrew Herden. So I'm the CFO for Hoya Vision Care, specifically for the Western Hemisphere. So I'm one of 4 regional heads, which puts me in kind of an interesting spot because while I make a lot of decisions, I can be overridden. It's tough having a boss sometimes. But I've been with Hoya now for about 3 years. In terms of the journey with AppZen, we're still in the very early stages. We've been talking a lot, we've been courting for a while, and we finally signed, and we're in implementation at the moment. And it's been a journey to get here, but we're full steam ahead.
Yeah, Hoya is a pretty complicated environment, right? Global organization, a lot of legacy systems that we're all trying to pull together here in the US, right?
So maybe just to give a bit of background, Hoya is an 80-year-old Japanese company, publicly traded. It's one of the larger companies that you've never heard of. Hoya itself is basically a bank. It's a big holding company. They have 11 different divisions all over the world. I work for one of them, Vision Care. In fact, if you're wearing glasses, there's probably a 12% chance I've put glasses on at least someone's face here.
Maybe me.
Maybe you as well.
Can you tell?
No, that's the competitor.
Okay. That's why I can't see. So, Andrew, as you in your role, you look at a lot of things, and to get to figuring out how to select an AP product, it's a really crowded space, right? And one of the things that we think a lot about is how do we help folks in the marketplace understand how AppZen as an AI-first solution is different than the other AP products in the market. So as you explored the market, what were you looking for? What did you discover in the market? And how did you guys ultimately land on selecting AppZen?
Yeah, so you're right. The AP landscape out there is really crowded, but maybe it helps to understand where my lens is coming from. No pun intended, because I'm in a vision care company. While I've got a few different roles, one of my primary roles is to help advise the company on how to allocate capital. That's it. We've got money that comes in, and we need to invest it different ways to maximize shareholder return. One of the things I need in order to do that is a really good understanding of where that money's going, how it's being spent, so that we can accurately calculate the returns on that and decide, do we want to invest more there, less there? Do we want to rebalance the portfolio? Not dissimilar from what we do with our 401ks or our stock portfolios. So for me, while AP is a function of an accounting process that's being run by a controller somewhere with transaction processing there, where I'm really focused on is what's going to give me the best insight to drive behavioral change and to be able to hold the organization accountable for the returns that it's promising when it goes to make investments. So finding something in the space that was going to give us that kind of insight and analytics and understanding and again, driving that accountability with the organization was really key. And there's a lot of players out there that can read a document, that can help you manage transactional efficiency. Those are table stakes. There's a lot of people out there that do that. Where AppZen was really different was the ability to bring that next level intelligence across the top of everything and start to flag where we're probably having issues, where a human's missing it. And this helps me eventually to hold the organization more accountable.
Yeah, that's great. I think that, you kind of put your finger right on the pulse of how we see ourselves as different, right? Is automating elements of the transaction process that a lot of technology solutions don't attempt to automate, right? One of the things you and I have been talking a lot about over the past kind of couple of weeks is automating the three-way match process, right? A lot of technologies are still really, we can automate extraction. That's a part of the process, like capturing the data from the document. We're really good at that. And as Andrew pointed out, everybody in the market will say that they're really good at that. But the difference is the next step, the next level of processing. So in PO processing is, can we match the other two documents associated with three-way matching? Can we get the purchase order, the header level, the line items matched, and then find a goods receipt that matches that as well, right? So doing that in an automated way is a step up from what the other players in the space are doing. So Andrew and I have been really keenly focused on that for the past couple of weeks, how we crack that code. So as you think about, your team going from the manual entry process and going into the world of artificial intelligence, how are you thinking about what the team will look like and how their day-to-day will change in managing that transition?
Honestly, number one, the team's going to be smaller. Part of the organization that I've inherited, it looks like a plate of spaghetti in terms of all the systems that we have on the table. Hoya is an 80-year-old company and has grown over 80 years through acquisitions and new bolt-ons and systems and things like that. But it's like having a junk closet. You never really clean it out, and at some point you just have to rip everything out and reorganize it. That's the transformation process that we're on right now. So when we talk about what the team looks like, the team's going to look very different because we have an army of people that are sitting there manually keying. And I think I've heard several people talk about the transaction processing army. And it's not that they're doing good work. They really are. They're helping us stay compliant with vendors. And it's just we're asking them to do things that I don't think we should ask people to do when there's better ways, when there's systems. People want to use their brain. They want to think. They don't want to sit there and get really proficient on a 10 key and develop carpal tunnel towards the end of their careers. We want to see the team lean out when it comes to who's actually touching the invoices and let the system do what the system needs to do. What we want to do is we want to redeploy as much as possible and allow people to do different aspects of maybe different parts of the P2P process. For example, we've got people that are very close to the invoices that really know the vendors because they talk to them all the time. They understand what we're buying from them. Could that be a great talent pool for us for purchasing? And then now we've created value because we can go negotiate better cost structures, better terms, things like that.
Right. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Taking, those relationships, that awareness of those unique supplier-customer relationships, right? So I think a lot of the folks here either report to somebody like you or report into a structure of a CFO. And, we know that, deploying artificial intelligence in the office of the CFO is probably something that all of you are hearing from your leadership. So I think it would be interesting for the folks here to hear, Andrew, from your perspective, how do you think about an artificial intelligence implementation in the broader context of your overall financial transformation, artificial intelligence in particular, applying that to the transformation?
Well, it's going to have to be a piece of it. It's there. It's the next technological revolution after the internet. So we know it's there. We have to learn to use it. We have to leverage it because others will. And if we don't, then we fall behind. So it's got to be a key component of our transformation process, which will ultimately culminate in an entire ERP transformation. But where AppZen as an AI provider allows us to not only get some efficiencies, get some accountability, get better insight, it allows us to learn on this AI journey because it gives me a relatively confined area to look at and to get some really good use cases for AI in the organization and how it can yield value. Because we can't go automate our manufacturing facilities with full AI and put customers at risk. That's a step too big. And it's not to say that AP is not a really important part of the process. It is, but this is a good risk to take. It's a first domino that we can topple to start to build some momentum into the next transformation, the next one, and then we can go after larger ones down the road.
Yeah. So as you think of kind of the journey that you're on, right? I think you put it nicely, right? It's a discrete function that you can kind of get your arms around and apply artificial intelligence to it, observe it, learn from it, but it really is, I think in your world, it really kind of represents the jumping off point, right? And the to the broader, spectrum of what artificial intelligence can look like to other applications within the office of the CFO. So as you think of, leaping into this, where do you go next? What are some of the next areas that you think artificial intelligence can be solving for you?
Well, the next obvious solution for us is AR. So as a lens, in the space that we're in our industry, you can do what's called lens casting, which is basically making what looks like hockey pucks, which is the first step to making a prescription lens. And then you can grind a lens, you can coat a lens, you can do all the things to it, you can cut it, you can put it in a frame. So you have different aspects of the value creation process. And each of those requires a different kind of management system to allow the machines to do what they need to do to gather the telemetry from the very specific kind of specifications that are coming in from eye doctors and all over the place, and making everything that's very unique for the individual that's going to be wearing them. This requires a lot of different systems. Those systems need pricing. And long story short, because of all of this stuff, those systems actually have to drive our AR. So to bring a unified view of AR and put automation and some intelligence on top of it, and finally look at a customer as one relationship and not a disconnected series of relationships, that makes a lot of sense. Now we start with AP rather than AR because at least this way we don't have to mess with the customer yet.
Right. To mess with suppliers.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. So, we're in this journey together. So, as you look at the project, if you could, provide some advice or share some insights to the team, what measures are you taking, there's a lot of constituents in a project like this. There's your team, the other stakeholders in your business, there's other technology vendors, there's AppZen as a vendor. What are you doing to ensure, that the project goes, on the timeline and according to plan?
So one of the benefits that we've got is a really good project management organization, and that reports into me, so we make sure that we put solid project management around it. But from my personal standpoint, it's about being present. It's about keeping really clear, open lines of communication with the internal team, with our internal project management, with you. We talk every week, worst case every 2 weeks, but we're usually talking way more frequently than that. But just to be present and to make sure that I'm arbitrating resource needs, that if there's a conflict between what the team's saying that they need and what technically is feasible, to arbitrate that in a very defined way. Nothing ever goes according to plan. And these kind of projects, when you pick them up, it's not going to go according to the SOW out of the box with no hiccups. But if you take the mentality of coming into it that you'll adapt and overcome and change and perfect your understanding of how the system can be used to the best of its ability in your deployment, and you just work on the relationships that support that.
Yeah, I think you put it well, and as we've said, we talk a lot, right? As we're going through this project, and I have the lens. I get to look at a lot of projects and work on a lot of different projects, and the relationship that Andrew and I have developed over the course of this project is the type of relationship where we do speak frequently. There's a lot of transparency that we have. We don't hide behind anything, and I think that's allowed us to work through hard issues very, very efficiently, and get to the end state. Through all of the complexity of, as you said, the spaghetti ball that we're trying to put technology into. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for that. Yeah. So that's the questions we had to run through. Love to hear if the audience have any thoughts or questions for Andrew based on what you've heard so far.
We are 9 weeks in, something like that. So we've gotten through, I'm trying to think of where we are in the project plan right now, week 9. So we are in the implementation, a few weeks out from testing and all of that good stuff. And we're doing invoicing, so we don't use it for T&E yet. That could be on the radar, so
Yet.
yet. That's always the operative word, is yet.
Yes.
Fortunately with this, the ROIs, I mean, the ROIs sell themselves. It's fairly straightforward. It's a calculation of number of headcount saved. We know what we've had in duplicate payments. We know what we've had to go back and collect back from vendors. So it's a very quantifiable ROI that when you look at it, it's an easy guess, which is also one of the reasons that we started on the AP side, because it is quantifiable. It also helps being on the side that's not pitching it, the one that gets to say yes. And that's how my team pitched it to me. So it was a pretty easy decision to say, let's start here. If you think about AI projects more broadly, though, those kind of conversations get to be a lot more difficult because the ROI can be so ethereal, right? What's the potential out there to capture market share or cost avoidance or risk reduction? And with that, we do have some other projects that we're in the process of working through, and that really requires a very strong relationship between the different department heads and some solid working sessions, and frankly, a lot of disagreement before you get to what a good yes or no can look like. I kind of liken it, if anyone's ever worked on a car before, it's kind of like fixing suspensions. Once you fix one aspect of it, you're going to put more pressure on another aspect, and you're going to find that that's not working as well as you thought it was to begin with. And it's a bit of back and forth. So right now, I would say in our upstream process, purchasing side is more mature than the APs. It's a bit more automated. I think what we're going to find out, though, is that there's a lot of things that are slipping through the cracks once we start to really get eyes on these things. Because when we just do a bit of an internal audit on a sample of what we find things slip through the cracks that can be masked by how seamless the systems are working currently. Just because a red flag doesn't pop up in the system doesn't mean. So I think what this is going to give us the tools to do is to see all the broken pieces onstream and identify the root cause upstream, and then we can put the pressure back on the purchasing team to up their game. Because now there's a tool that makes up what it is that they're giving us, and we can finally get that last mile. We're almost to no PO, no pay, about 95% of the way there. There's a few statistics out there with holdovers and one of the worst ones because I don't want to do a PO for the annual audit. Purchasing hates me for that. But eventually, we'll be able to knock those over as well. But no, that's a... Yes, 3%. With the exception of like lease payments and utility bills and free charges and stuff like that. That's where we want to get to.
Great. Oh, one more? Yeah.
Be a stunt double for Alan Richardson.
Well, number one, he's 6'4" and he weighs about 20 pounds more than I do. But he's a great guy.
Loved you in Reacher.
It's a great way to close it.
But I will say balancing, work-life balance has been balanced much more to work than it is life with all of this stuff. So pretty soon I'll be... Usually I can tell when it's balancing more to work than to life because people liken me more to Seth Rogen than Or no, yeah, Seth Rogen. No, not Joe Rogan. I've got hair.
Great, well, thank you, everybody. I think we're done. Asad, you're going to close us out, or are we good here?
Yeah.
Cool.